Hello to all your students. So in this video we shall discuss about how the blood is supplied to our kidneys. So first of all we'll try to make a kidney and few important parts of the kidney. So suppose this is our kidney. These are your ureters. Okay. So the deeper part of the kidney is known as renal medulla. So this deeper part is known as the medullary area or renal medulla, and the outer part, this part is known as renal cortex. Fine. Now in renal medulla we have got a structure known as renal pyramids. Okay, so these are renal pyramids. The triangle shaped structure are renal pyramids, and the space in between these renal pyramids is known as renal column. Fine. So in kidneys we have got a medullary area which is the deeper part of the kidney, and cortex area, or you can say renal cortex, which is the outermost part of the kidney. And in the renal medulla we have got a triangle shaped structure known as renal pyramids. I have shown 3 renal pyramids, and the space between the renal pyramids is known as renal column. Next we shall check out the arterial supply. Okay, so arterial supply means obviously pure blood. It is being received via aorta. Okay, so I'll be making aorta over here. Okay, this is our aorta. So this is blood vessel number 1. I'll be writing over here. Even you can write or note down in your books. The first blood vessel will be aorta. Next, from aorta will be arising our renal artery, that is blood vessel number 2. Okay, from aorta will be arising renal artery. Next, this renal artery, it will be branching into two branches or dividing into two branches. One is going posteriorly, posterior means backward, and one is moving anteriorly means forward. So this posteriorly going artery is known as posterior renal artery, and the artery which is moving anteriorly is known as anterior renal artery. Okay, so this is the third blood vessel. Okay, so third blood vessel, here we have got anterior and posterior renal artery. Fine. So posterior means this one, it is going backward, and anterior means this one which is approaching at the anterior most part, or you can say the frontal part. Now this anterior renal artery is again divided into 4 segments. Okay, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, it is getting divided into 4 segments, whereas the posterior artery will be divided into only single segment, means it won't divide, it just move forward. Okay, so this segment artery is known as segmental artery. Okay, so anterior renal artery is divided into 4 segmented artery. Okay, the name itself is segmental artery. Okay, so here the anterior renal artery will be divided into 4 segmental artery, whereas the posterior, it will be a single artery itself, a single segmental artery. So you can say 4 plus 1, that is total 5 segmental artery will be there. 4 from the anterior renal artery and 1 from the posterior renal artery. Next, this segmental artery will be moving all the way throughout this renal columns. Okay, renal columns means it is the space in between the renal pyramids. Throughout the renal column, this segmental artery will be moving, and the name is given interlobar artery. Okay, this is blood vessel number 5. Okay, so this is interlobar interlobar artery. Okay, so where do we find interlobar artery? We find interlobar artery in the renal columns. Okay, so the space between these renal pyramids is the renal column, where you can find interlobar artery. Next, this interlobar artery, when it reaches at the margin or at the boundary of medulla and cortex, it splits into an another blood vessel, or you can say arterial blood vessel, and the name is arcuate artery. Okay, this is blood vessel number 6. Okay, the name is arcuate artery. Okay, where do we find arcuate artery? It arcs at the boundary of medulla, that is renal medulla and renal cortex. Next, from this arcuate artery, a number of blood vessels will be moving all the way in the renal cortex. Okay, these are very straight arteries which will be all the way throughout this renal cortex. Okay, and its name is, yes, its name is interlobular artery. This is blood vessel number 7. Okay, the name is interlobular artery. Do not get confused. Fifth one is interlobar and this one is interlobular. Okay, interlobular artery. Both are interlobar as well as interlobular. These are straight blood vessels. Okay, but interlobular, it will be in the medullary area, whereas interlobular will be in the renal cortex. Okay. Next, from this interlobular artery, various small arteries will also be arising. Okay, when I am saying small arteries means these will be called arterioles. Okay, various small arterioles will be arising. So these are blood vessel number 7. And what might be the name of these arterioles? Yes, you know very well, since from school time you are reading about this. The name is afferent arteriole. Okay, so blood vessel number 8 is afferent arteriole. Now I'll erase few things for better understanding, because we can make a few other structures over here. Oh, I have erased kidney only. I need to redraw the kidney. Alright. Thank God I'm good in drawing. Uh-oh. Alright. So where were we? These are interlobular artery, and from this interlobular artery will be arising a smaller artery, that is arteriole, to which we call it as, yes, these are afferent arteriole. And we know this afferent arteriole will be breaking down into small capillary network, to which we call it as, yes, that is glomerular capillary or glomerulus. Okay, so this is blood vessel number 9, which is our glomerulus. Or glomerular artery, glomerular capillary. Next, we also know from this glomerular capillary will be arising an another blood vessel, to which we call it as, yes, efferent arteriole. Number 10 will be your efferent arteriole. Fine. Now we'll try to fit a nephron over here, and we know where exactly the positioning will be there. I'll be drawing nephron with green color. I'll be raising few more objects over here for better spacing, hopefully not erasing our kidney. Hmm. Just one renal pyramid I'll have. Now, nephron I'll be drawing with green color, and we know the nephron part over here will be the Bowman's capsule, isn't it? So this is our Bowman's capsule, and from the Bowman's capsule the next structure will be, yes, proximal convoluted tubule. All the way throughout the cortex there will be our proximal convoluted tubule, and next when this nephron approaches to the medullary part, it will become loop of Henle, then a hairpin turn, and then when it approaches to the cortical area, it will be wider and form the distal convoluted tubule, isn't it? And again this distal convoluted tubule will be turning back, eventually forming the collecting ducts, and over here a urine drop will be formed, will be eventually excreted out. Okay. Now this 10th blood vessel will be your, yes, efferent arteriole. Okay, see, the 8th blood vessel is afferent arteriole. Okay, this one is afferent arteriole, this one is efferent arteriole, and this is our capillary. See, as such, normally what we have seen so far, first there will be an artery. Okay, there will be an artery, then it will become a capillary, and eventually capillary will be forming veins. Okay, now in the arteries the pressure will be very high, and in the veins the pressure will be very low. So what happens, the blood will be moving at higher pressure and then eventually moving towards a lower pressure. But what happens over here is, this is an artery and this is also an artery, and this capillary, it is present in between these two arteries. So glomerulus, it is a kind of capillary that have got a very high pressure. Fine. Now after afferent arteriole, it will eventually forms an another capillary network. Okay, so here you will be finding out two capillaries. First one is this ninth one, that is glomerular capillary, and next capillary will be called as peritubular capillary. And the main feature of this peritubular capillary is, this will be found winding around your proximal convoluted tubule as well as distal convoluted tubule. Okay, it is found around these two tubules. And why? Because it is why so much important, because most of the tubular reabsorption and tubular secretion occurs with this peritubular capillaries. Okay, now this blood vessel number 11 will be your peritubular capillary. Okay, 11th one is peritubular capillary. Next, from here the venous system will be initiated. Okay, so I'll be changing the color to blue now. Okay, so this peritubular capillary, now it will be turning back and then moving towards the medullary part. Okay, and now this is known as, yes, it is also interlobular, but this time veins. Okay, so this one was interlobular artery, and now this one is interlobular vein. Okay, everything will be repeating. 12th one, interlobular vein. Okay, next this interlobular vein, when it reaches at the boundary of cortex and medulla, it will be forming an arcing blood vessel, to which we call it as arcuate artery. Sorry, arcuate veins. Okay, so blood vessel number 13 is, yes, arcuate vein. Okay, same thing. This one was, yes, this one was arcuate artery, and this one is arcuate vein. And now this arcuate vein will be moving all over towards the medullary part, to which we'll be calling it, yes, it will be interlobar veins. Okay, when these blood vessels are moving, means straight blood vessels throughout the medullary part are interlobar, whether it is artery or vein. Similarly, when the blood vessels are moving throughout the cortical area, we call it as interlobular. Okay, now this was interlobular vein, which will forming arcuate vein, and then it will form, yes, interlobar vein. Okay, so the blood vessel number 14 is interlobar vein. Okay, now this interlobar vein, and there will be many other interlobar vein which will fuse together, eventually forming, yes, your renal vein. Okay, a much bigger blood vessel number 15, it will be your, yes, renal vein. And this renal vein, eventually it will be throwing the blood into the major blood vessel, which is your, yes, inferior vena cava. Okay, so this is blood vessel number 16, that is, yes, sorry, this is blood vessel number 16, which is your inferior vena cava. Okay, so this is all about the blood supply to your kidneys. So it will be initiated from the aorta, okay, which will from where renal artery will be initiated. This renal artery then divides into anterior and posterior renal artery. Anterior renal artery will then divide into 4 segments and posterior into 1 segment to produce segmental artery. Next, these segmental arteries will be moving all the way throughout the renal columns, to which we call as interlobar artery. Next, this interlobar artery, when it reaches at the boundary of medulla and the cortex, it will form arcuate artery. Next, from here arises some straight blood vessels which will be moving throughout the cortical area, to which we call as interlobular artery. From interlobular artery arises smaller arteries, to which we call it as afferent arteriole. And this thing you know, afferent arteriole then eventually form glomerular capillary, which then form efferent arteriole. From efferent arteriole, again a capillary network will be produced, to which we call it as, yes, peritubular capillaries. And where we find peritubular capillaries, it is found wound around the proximal convoluted tubule as well as the distal convoluted tubule, so that tubular secretion and tubular reabsorption takes place. Next, from here starts the venous system, that is, we have got interlobular veins that moves throughout the cortical area. Next, when this interlobular veins reaches to the boundary of cortex and medulla, it forms arcuate vein, and then all the way throughout the medullary part will be interlobar vein, then renal vein, and which will be moving towards the inferior vena cava. Okay, so this is all about the blood supply towards the kidney. I hope you people found this video helpful. Thank you for watching.